Hey there, Saber fans. Shamim here. I've got an incredibly personal build to share with you guys today. Um, I think many other Star Wars fans, grew up reading the Young Jedi Knights and the Junior Jedi Knights series of books. Um, Young Jedi Knights featuring Jaina and Jacen Solo, Han and Leia's two twin kids, and then the Junior Jedi Knights featuring their younger brother Anakin Solo. Um, so it followed the adventures of the three Solo kids and their friends. And one of the friends of Jaina and Jacen Solo is Dathomiri Hapen princess named Tenelka. And she is my favorite Star Wars character from the expanded universe. You know, a character who was created specifically for the novels and the games and things outside of the movies. This is of course pre-Disney takeover of Star Wars. And Tenelka, her mother was one of the Dathomiri people, Force users, and her father was the prince of the Hapes cluster. We've seen Dathomir now in Clone Wars and Rebels and a few other places, but we've yet to see the Hapes cluster, the Hapes consortium, sort of reintegrated into canon. At least as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen Hapes. But I loved Tenelka as a character. I loved the dueling conflict within her of her more rugged Dathomiri side, the warriors, versus the royalty politicians of her Hapen father's side. And she always favored her Dathomiri mother far more than the culture of her Hapen father. And that imbalance within her ultimately led to her losing her left arm in a training accident. It was, she refused to reconcile herself, the two warring factions of herself, and then also the fact that she was, training to be a Jedi. She would always focus entirely on her physical prowess, really honing in on her Dathomiri warrior side. And completely rejecting her Hapen side as well as the Force powers. She never used the Force if she was able to get away with, using some of her own intellect or her own physical prowess. And because of that, she was arrogant in building her first lightsaber. I believe it was her grandmother had a pet Rancor, because why the hell not? Grandmother has a pet Rancor. That's pretty badass. And when the Rancor died, she kept two of the Rancor's teeth and gave these two teeth as a present to Tenelka, as far as I can recall. And Tenelka used the Rancor tooth for her first lightsaber. It sort of had a silvery grayish blade, if I recall. And she rushed the assembly of her lightsaber. She didn't take the time to really commune with the Force and fine-tune her lightsaber. And then also because of her arrogance and her reliance on just physical prowess instead of using the Force to really know her surroundings. When she was dueling with her friend and future lover Jacen Solo as a train in the fourth book of the Young Jedi Knight series, her lightsaber malfunctions in the middle of the battle. She's unable to sense it. Jacen accidentally slices through her arm. And throughout the course of that book, then Tenelka has to come to grips with the two apparently dichotomous sides of her being, and opens herself up more to the Force, opens herself up a bit more to her Hapen culture, and by the end of the book, she constructs a new lightsaber using the second Rancor tooth, and for the focusing gem, for the crystal inside her lightsaber, she takes one of the gems, one of the jewels from her Hapen crown, a tiara that her other grandmother gave to her, and she uses that as the heart, as the soul of her new lightsaber. So the exterior is the Dathomiri warrior side, and the interior is the royalty princess side, and that results in a beautiful turquoise blade. And she continues to use this lightsaber for the remainder of her time in the series. Eventually goes on to become the Queen Mother of the Hapes Consortium, and very, very instrumental in some of the key events that take place with the New Republic and the new Jedi Order that Luke Skywalker has formed. So that's a 5-minute backstory on Tenelka, for those of you who may not be aware who this character is, and for those of you who do, I apologize, but I love talking about this character, and I've always wanted to have a replica of her Rancor tooth hilt lightsaber. And now, thanks to a collaboration with Jevaho Creations, I can finally present to you one of the new prized possessions in my collection, Tenelka's Rancor Tooth lightsaber. I commissioned Jevaho to build the hilt itself. Excuse me. He used a brass inner tube, and then sculpted the Rancor Tooth exterior shape out of resin, some kind of resin, I believe it was. And then he added a couple of the greeblies, and then did a first pass with his own paint job, his own interpretation of the paint job. And when I received it, I knew throughout the whole process that I was going to do some additional customizations. I might add some more cracking, I might add some different greeblies, I might repaint the whole thing, and of course I would do the install, the electronics install. So I eventually got around to completely repainting the whole thing, just to better fit my own personal vision of what I wanted this lightsaber to look like. I redid a couple of the greeblies. This toggle switch, for example, was a little bit bulkier. I sanded it down on the grinder. I added the two tactile switches there. Changed the D-ring to make it a bit smaller and more subtle. Added a custom brass blade plug, and then I went ahead and got a nice display stand plaque made for the hilt itself. So this plaque, I designed the plaque and had it printed by KR Sabers, and yeah. One of the most ingenious parts of this hilt that Jevaho did was the sound venting. You notice that there's no like sound venting at the bottom at the pommel, but you'll notice that there are cracks and holes throughout the bottom portion of the hilt, and that allows for the sound to vent in an extremely natural way without disrupting the look and the feel of the hilt itself, because bone naturally cracks, and there's holes and pits and pots. And I just think that was genius on Jevaho's part. So major shout out to him for that design element, and for, of course, the rest of the hilt is exquisite. About 2 years ago, I had designed a custom sound font called Warrior Princess for Tenelka. And even 2 years ago, I knew that eventually I was going to have a Rancor Tooth hilt, and that I wanted a Tenelka custom sound font on there. So now I finally get to show it off. Here we go. This is the Rancor Tooth hilt.
This is a fact.
Her classic phrase from the novels, "This is a fact." She's not a very talkative person, and always responds in the affirmative, when someone mentions, oh, such and such is a trap, or such and such is happening. She's like, this is a fact. So I created that audio file for Tenelka. These two blinking switches here are from Cosmic Intergalactic, CIG. They made the tactile lit switches that I've used on Darth Sidious hilts and the Adigalia hilt. But in this case, they're neither black nor silver. They are gold-plated. I had those custom made by CIG, and so it's gold plating with custom sort of turquoise, very bright turquoise-colored LED in there. Let's get her fired up. Oops, there goes the plaque. Let's move that out of the way. So you may, I don't know how well it comes off on the video. It is a bit quieter than most of the lightsaber hilts that I've installed, and naturally, because you don't have an inch of full sound venting at the bottom of the hilt, you have to sort of hide it in with these 3, 4, 5 little holes. It's loud enough that you can hear what it is. Naturally, I want all my lightsabers to be as painfully loud as possible. But this is really just going to be a shelf queen, so it's okay if it isn't the loudest saber in my collection. A couple other fonts. Ether. Ooh, I forgot how nice that lockup on Ether is. Ordinal, one of my new favorite sound fonts. With some super unique and aggressive swings and clashes. Sparkle. Very ethereal sound font. I forget what this is. Fulcrum, just with a custom boot. And I think back to Warrior Princess now.
So he would always have a friend.
This is Kindred Acceptance.
Your time has come. This is not our end. Flee.
Some of the clashes and other effects have some dialogue.
Return to nothing. A sharper blade makes for a cleaner death. All life is temporary.
So, maybe it fits, maybe not. I don't know. I like it. Back to Warrior Princess.
This is a fact.
Some jungle ambience from the Yavin 4 moon, where the Jedi Academy is held. This thumb screw up here is your blade retention. Loosen that, and your custom blade plug falls out. So the inner tube is all brass. There you've got your 1-inch LED, 1-inch blade. Tighten that guy. Beautiful turquoise blade to match the... oh, you can't even see it now. It's dark. But to match the turquoise blade that of course she wields in the books. I've really come around to accent LEDs. I used to really hate them, but these particular ones, these lit switches, there's something about them, man. I really like them. So, Cosmic Intergalactic, you've converted me to liking accent LEDs. Congratulations. Cycle through some of the different colors. We've got a bit more of a bluish cyan here. Sort of a greenish white. A pale viridian color. This is a light blue. Solid green. This looks like white to me with just a hint of blue, so very, very pale silver. This should be solid white. Yep. And back to the original turquoise. I don't have 16 colors on here because it's not an RGB and I don't need every single shade, but the swings are very, very subtle on the Warrior Princess sound font. So there you have it, guys. Let me take out the blade and we can just bask in the glory that is the Rancor tooth hilt for a little bit. I love it. I absolutely love it. And so this is the angle. There's a painting of Tenelka and her Rancor and her lightsaber. They're sort of in this angle, and I really wanted to replicate that as closely as I possibly could. And I think I did a pretty good job with the paint. Jevaho did an amazing job sculpting the hilt. Excuse me, and providing the empty hilt for that I could use to install this guy. Yeah, Very, very personal build. I'm extremely happy with it. The layering in the paint took an extremely long time to get right, and I'm sorry for blinding you there. And I'm very, very happy with how that turned out. So it was hand painted, and then I did a gloss spray clear coat on top of that. So yeah, Tenelka's lightsaber, my favorite expanded universe character. Palpatine, of course, is my favorite overall character, but Tenelka is my favorite expanded universe character. Thank you all so much for watching. May the Force be with you.